Joining us tonight is Mark Lee, the president of the Lee Group Michigan LLC, which is an integrated marketing company. Mark, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So I feel like we have to start with the concept that you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Whether you are terrified of this or excited about it, this isn't going away, is it?
It's going to be here to stay. And let's start with a very basic conversation. What is artificial intelligence? What is AI? And what AI really is technology that allows people, it allows the machine to think for you. So in other words, you ask it a question, as you saw in the story, it gives you a response. And so I think what's scaring people is that this thing called artificial intelligence is going to take over my life. It's going to take over a lot of things I'm currently doing, but it's not going anywhere. It's just going to grow.
Now, it's going to take over my life. It might even take over my job. That's not an unreasonable assumption. I mean, we've seen this before. If you were in the, I don't know, typewriter manufacturing business a few decades ago, some new technology came in and that was your job, but it also created a lot of jobs.
That's correct.
Is this a similar situation?
Yeah, let's use Detroit as an example. Let's use the automotive industry. I grew up here in Detroit, and I remember way back in the day, everybody worked in the plants, and the cars were manufactured by human beings. Now, let's fast forward. You go to an auto plant right now, you have technology, you have robots in there. A lot of those jobs have been displaced, but yet the robots have not. They're still there. So that's what's going to happen here. And I think it's a situation where people are nervous about their jobs, and they have every right to be, but there's an opportunity to leverage AI in the job that you're currently doing. Don't be afraid of it. You have to get used to it, evolve with it, and you can actually do good things with it.
Yeah, there's been this phrase that's been said a lot in this conversation that AI is not going to replace workers, but workers who use AI are going to replace the workers who don't. Do you identify with that?
I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I think that people who actually who know how to use AI will be better off than those who are not used to using it. Again, I'm using Detroit as an example. Let's go back to the automotive industry. And again, we have people putting tires on the car, right? You're putting the doors on. It was very traditional manufacturing. Let's fast forward to today, 2023. Technology has evolved. And unless you've evolved with technology from a workplace standpoint, you're going to be challenged to find a new job in this new economy. Same thing with artificial intelligence. If you learn how to use it, if you adapt with the times, you will have an opportunity to continue to grow and learn, and actually new jobs will be created as a result of it.
Sure. Let's talk about some of the uses of it. If it is a tool that people are going to use in their jobs, what are the kinds of tasks that you think AI will remove from our responsibilities first?
I had a conversation today in preparation for this conversation with somebody who heads up AI for a major organization. Let's use him as an example. What he said was the mundane things as business communications. He uses it now for it to create an email, to create a memo, right? To do the mundane things that we normally don't like to do, the administrative things. So that's one value with AI. But what he also indicated was it cannot replace the human interaction. And that's the difference. So I think what AI is going to do short term is replace the mundane business communication, setting up meetings for us, sending out emails, or we can dictate an email, whatever you want to do. You can also use it to ask very basic questions. So a lot of times we say, let's Google it. Well, when you Google something, you get a bunch of links that come back to you. With AI, what it does is it doesn't bring back all the links. It gives you a simple explanation, so people are gravitating towards it because now they're saying, I don't have to click on all these links. I get the response immediately.
And in a way, aren't many of us already using it, whether we realize it or not? You mentioned Googling something, but a lot of us might ask a smart speaker or something. That is AI. When you're composing an email and it starts to suggest what you might want to finish that sentence with, isn't that AI?
Basically. Basically, the difference is that AI, again, I think people are viewing it as an opportunity. It's going to replace my job. In fact, 25% of the workforce is afraid that they will lose their jobs within 5 years.
Wow.
Because as a direct result of AI. And let that sink in, 25%. But one of the reasons that people are fearful of it is because they don't understand it. They're not exactly sure what it does for you. So you're right. If you're talking to your smartphone, if you're talking to your Alexa, basically that is AI. But we don't think of it in that context.
So we may change the way we think about it going forward.
Absolutely.
Very interesting. Well, we are going to talk about the use of AI in education. That's been a huge conversation here. Some are very afraid what it could mean for schools, especially colleges and universities, but others are embracing it.
We'll see.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. As a new school year begins, college students and their professors have a new tool or challenge, depending how you look at it, with artificial intelligence. While many fear it, others are starting to embrace it. Riley Hackett explains how educators at a South Carolina school are doing just that.
Artificial intelligence has been around for decades, but the rise of ChatGPT, Google Bard, and similar programs have made AI more accessible and functional.
It's one of these things that it's here, and as time ticks by, we're only getting more strength in the tools.
Educators at USC's Center for Teaching Excellence discussed the future of AI during a forum Monday. They, like the rest of us, are working to identify pitfalls and possible uses for artificial intelligence. Andy Shumper and other instructors shared strategies.
Quick lesson plans, ways to create learning objectives for the classes that they're teaching, study guides. You can actually create entire quizzes and various assessments using it.
David Hudgens teaches international business.
AI is an immense topic, a really brand new topic for many of us, but one that gives me certainly more confidence in being able to leverage and use it as a tool, a teaching tool, a resource for student-centered learning.
Reporting in Columbia, I'm Riley Hackett, News 19 WLTX.
And we're still joined by Mark Lee of the Lee Group Michigan LLC. This education component of the conversation has been huge since ChatGPT, which is one of the AI chatbots, came out just last year. It's not even that old. So we already saw a number of universities kind of rushing and knee-jerk reactions. What do we do with this technology? What do we do if we can't prove that students wrote their papers? Right. But we are starting to see it be embraced. What do you anticipate in this new school year?
Well, let me start off by saying I am an educator. I teach at 3 different universities. There's a lot of nervousness right now going into the fall semester, which starts obviously next week. There's a lot of nervousness. And what do I see with it? I see it continuing to increase. It's going to penetrate the classroom. It's going to penetrate the students in terms of how they use it. Professors, as you saw in the story there, how they're going to teach using it as a tool. The concern is very simple, is if you give an assignment, for example, if you ask a question, all the student has to do is to put that question in ChatGPT, for example, and it will come back with some responses. So this is where the challenge is going to be, right? So the student types their paper and they turn it into the professor. Does the professor know that that story was written by the student or by ChatGPT? And I think that's where there's a lot of uneasiness, a lot of nervousness. The other issue is when you go to get an education, you're using your brain. You're supposed to think. We're teaching you the ability to think critically.
Yeah.
And some people are going to say, well, you're shortcutting by using artificial intelligence, right? You're shortcutting a person's responsibility or ability to think critically as well as in depth as well.
Aren't you also seeing, though, ways to use, like you mentioned, tools? We've heard from professors before who are using it where they're saying, write a paper, ask ChatGPT to write this paper, and then the student has to critique what the AI got right and got wrong. What are you seeing in your colleagues and in your work as a professor?
I'll give you a real life example. There was an assignment given to ChatGPT, right, and to a student. They were given the exact same assignment. And the student wrote their paper, and they turned it into the professor. ChatGPT wrote the paper, and the professor evaluated. Ready for this? The student got a 93% on that paper. ChatGPT got a 96%. Written independently of each other. So what I'm seeing is, and I think again, that's what the concern is going to be. And this is going to be a year of learning for the professors and for the students alike. But I would tell you, Shane, that last year, the last semester, the winter semester, there was a whole lot of nervousness, a lot of uneasiness. And this summer, we've all been trained. We're all taking these classes, and we got to figure out how do we incorporate this into the classroom because it's not going to go anywhere.
And what are those classes like? What has the conversation been among the faculty?
The faculty, again, I'm going to use that word again, it's a lot of uneasiness. Because you got to remember, technology continues to evolve. You have a lot of long-time professors who refuse to change. You have a lot of younger professors getting into the profession. They've already been exposed to technology, so they're much more willing to change. So I think right now it's going to be a mixed bag. But as the semester progresses, as professors get used to it, the students get used to it, I think you will see people embracing the technology because I really think it can help leverage the educational system. It helps take some things off my hands, quite frankly. But I think, again, the bottom line is we got to figure out how this is going to be incorporated into the classroom.
Do you see more in your own work changing the types of assignments you give to students, or is it simply write that same essay but handwritten?
You know, that's a wonderful question because I'm changing how I'm delivering the assignments. Yes, I'm going to have much more group discussions, right? I'm going to have more team presentations, whereas before I might give a class a particular assignment. Hey, tell us about ChatGPT, that's your assignment. And they have to do a critical analysis and think about it and turn the paper in. But now what I'm finding myself doing is I want to be encouraging my students to have more group work, more group think, group presentations. And I'm going to evaluate them based on the analysis, based on their presentation styles, the information that they're sharing. Now, what they might do, though, is they still may go back and use artificial intelligence to answer the questions. But what I'm getting at is I'm more interested in hearing about their thought process, understanding their presentation skills, and are they delivering their ideas effectively.
Now, an interesting part of this is a lot of the fears around AI are people feeling that it's all powerful, it's all knowing, it's too powerful, but it's not actually perfect, is it? It has shown some flaws.
That's correct. Understand that AI gets the information directly from the internet. And remember, some things on the internet's what? Not always true.
It's a flawed place.
It can be a flawed place to go. So that's one issue with it. Number two issue with artificial intelligence is that since it's technology enabled, there's no human interaction. So I love the fact that you and I are having this conversation one-on-one. I thrive in an environment where I meet with people one-on-one. I can see your reactions, and we can certainly engage with each other. So for those of us who are tuning in today, I would encourage you to continue to have that human interaction. Use AI as a tool. Don't become overly dependent upon it, but make sure that you continue to have face-to-face interactions as well, because the computer can't do that for you.
Yeah, and aren't there just certain things that the AI is not that good, at least not yet, that it can't completely replace human emotion, human understanding?
Absolutely.
Correct.
That's correct. And if you're raising kids right now, or if you have teenagers or if you have young siblings, who's going to talk to the youngster? You have artificial intelligence talk to them and discipline that child?
I sure hope not.
I hope not. If we get to that point, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I think we're all out of here.
Yes.
Anything else that you are excited about with this technology when it comes to any of your work?
I'm still, I'm excited about it. I'm trying to embrace it. I'm proud of myself. I always embrace change. There is a nervousness with me, absolutely. But what I've been doing for the summer as I prepare for the fall semester, this upcoming fall semester, I've been teaching myself. I've downloaded the app. I've been playing around with it. So I am excited about it. I'm nervous about it. But I think once we get into the semester, we'll feel much more comfortable, and the learning experience will be enhanced.
Yeah, and what are those chief concerns? If there's one thing that maybe keeps you up for a few extra minutes at night.
The kids are not writing the papers. The kids are relying too much, I should say, the students, I should say, are relying too much on technology to do everything for them. And as a result of that, they're lacking that human interaction. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah, but it sounds like these conversations are already being had, and I imagine many students, college students especially, will be talked to about this, and there will be class discussions, won't there, as soon as the semester kicks off?
Absolutely. You know what? I'll probably, in my very first class, that'll be one of the conversations I will have.
Yeah.
I'm a discussion-based professor instructor. And what that means is I encourage my students to talk. So I'll probably ask a question. Okay, we know what the big elephant is in the room. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about artificial intelligence. I'd rather talk about the beginning of the semester, get it on the table, let's understand the strengths and weaknesses of it. But then I'm going to come back and tell them, I'm relying on you to use your brain. I'm relying on you to think, use your thought processes, and make sure you deliver the content that you came up with. And don't just rely on technology. Use technology as a tool.
And important for everyone to remember, while there's not a reliable way to detect AI use yet, there very well may be. So you don't want to end up in a situation where we're going back and looking at old assignments.
You got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
And there's a risk with that right now, because some students will pass along papers. If you have an instructor who doesn't change the syllabus, right? You know what I'm going to say? Some students will pass the old papers to another student. So that's why you have to remain relevant. You have to make sure you're on top of everything, and just don't dust off old assignments. And just don't dust off anything and pass it off to anybody else so they can use somebody else's work.
Got to stay on your toes.
You got to stay on your toes.
All right, Mark Lee of the Lee Group, thanks so much as always for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate your time.